Alex Chemerov here at Movements for Life. For today's restorative segment, we're going to be talking about the pecs and how to stretch them in the true stretch. So the pecs, obviously, for a number of years have been a major topic of conversation as it relates to posture and really trying to influence our chair-borne society in a positive way. So with much of life being in that push position between computer work, steering wheel, that fantastic new device that's going to create a whole slew of other challenges and problems as it relates to our aches and pains with our neck and T-spine and so forth. It's really important to have a little anatomical understanding of how the pecs are involved and, more importantly, how to stretch them, because just like any other part of our body, what we simply have to do is take our origin and insertion point and move them away from one another in a logical way, right? The goal isn't to go into this massive end range flexibility, but to apply a multi-dimensional stretch with some science behind it. So, quick little anatomy on the pecs. The pecs, very fan shaped. There are clavicular fibers, that famous upper pec, versus more of the sternal fibers, which compromises the rest of that fan-shaped muscle. And so from sternum, clavicular fibers makes its way down into your humerus. So really important, if we're influencing our humerus, the other part of the shoulder as it relates to your joint is your scapula and also your clavicle. So if we're stretching our pecs, we want to make sure that not just the humerus or your arm is being put back, but your shoulder blade is involved as well, in order to really help those shoulder blades be able to glide back. So the pec will allow your blades to be able to go into retraction, if you will. All right, so one of the big cues that I like to give here is going to be to take your elbow pits and you want to corkscrew them up as high as you can towards the ceiling. So that's going to create external rotation at the shoulder joint. So when the pec is short and tight, it does have the ability to internally rotate concentrically. So when short and restricted, it can pull you into that internally rotated posture, along with the lat, which is actually really cool because they're opposing muscle groups technically. One's a pusher, one's a puller, concentrically. So they both share that transverse plane motion of being able to, when short, internally rotate you. So but I digress. For your pec stretch, that external rotation is going to be really, really important. Now from here, again, making sure my shoulder blades aren't protracted and upwardly rotated. I want to make sure they're actually pinned back and retracted, and then I get that nice corkscrew motion. So for this pec variation, what we do is we're going to drive your pelvis as the driver while staying in that nice tall posture through my upper body. So I'm going to get a nice big load, not only through my chest, my pecs, but also into my abdominal wall, into my hip flexors, which gets a nice integration right away. All right, so there's my sagittal plane. Here's going to be my frontal plane hip drive. So now I start getting a little bit more unilateral with this one, where I'm influencing one pec more than the other, the side that I'm going to. And I'm just shifting my pelvis side to side. And then lastly, nice little transverse plane hip twist. So again, getting unilateral. So as I'm driving my pelvis one way, I'm going to be stretching this side that I just left. So when I turn my pelvis right, I'm getting more left pec, and vice versa. All right, so there you have it. Staying really tall, get a nice hip tuck through your pelvis so you don't get a low backy. And there's a really, really, really effective way to get into your pecs. Since it is, quick note, very fan shaped, your hand height you actually can adjust. So getting from anywhere from slightly above shoulder height to slightly below can start to influence and create a different line to pull. You could do that in the true stretch, or if you don't have a true stretch, again, the door jam is going to be a great stable environment that you can get into some of these mobility drills. So same concept there, using different hand height to just influence some different areas of your pecs, whether it's more clavicular or more sternal head. So the choice is yours. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching. As always, if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.